All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bakakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Conceived Seed. And as you brothers and few sisters already know, we have this devil, Vocab Malone, that came to the camp, I guess it was a year ago. And what he does, he'll get information, he'll chop it up to try to make himself look good, you know, because that's what the devil does. But before we get started on the lesson, I just want to mention that the Feast of Tabernacles ends tonight. So sundown tonight, the Feast of Tabernacles will be ended. The new moon is coming in September 16th at evening, which the brother from the New York camp will be putting up a video on his page tomorrow or tonight, and then I'll grab it off his page, Lord's will, and put it up on my page so you brothers can have it. So the new moon's coming in September 16th at evening, which that will be the new Sabbath for the month. So when you see the video, then you can get all the information you need off of that. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, this guy, and this is why, like, if you notice, he'll go to different camps. Well, he came to our camp. He said one thing he did say is, you guys are gonna kill Edomite babies, right? You're gonna kill white babies, right? You're gonna kill white babies. And he was trying to get us to say yeah, because what he wants to do is he wants to chop that up to make it seem like we're bugged out, we're crazy, we're just these insane criminals and all this bullshit. But then when you go to the scriptures in Psalms 137 chapter, it says exactly that we're going to take Esau's babies and dash them against the stones. But that's going to be in the kingdom. Can't exact vengeance here. Plus the Lord said vengeance belongs to him. Wait ye upon the Lord. And the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So we have to wait for the Lord to defend us. But be that as it may, let's go and deal with this issue. Like I said, I was trying to go live last night with the StreamYard contraption, and it's always been giving me problems. I got the video to work because I got a new webcam, because the other webcam I had, I guess, wasn't functioning properly. I don't know what the hell is going on with it. So I got another one, and I figured that'll fix the problem, but it didn't. So I got that. I clicked, to, be able to use the camera, the webcam, and I have a mic that I use. I tested the mic before I went into the studio. Those of you brothers that deal with StreamYard, and it was working fine. The green light was on. It said your mic is working, and then when I go live, there's no sound. So what I did was I tried it again. It didn't work. I tried it again, and I tried using the microphone from the webcam. It said it was working and everything. Then when I went live, it wasn't working. So I don't know, something I'm doing wrong. I guess I got to just do further research into it, because when I go live the other way, there's a delay. So whatever. Anyway, this devil Vocab Malone comes, to the camp, films the camp. And what he does, he doesn't release the video. The video was live that same day. Actually, we were actually live when he rolled up. So the video was up on GMS Info Doc Channel 11. So we ain't hiding nothing. So why did it take them this long, to put up those videos from a year ago? I'll tell you why. Because they went and they analyzed it, and they scrutinized it, and they studied it. And there was nothing they could really get to try to demonize it. Because if there was something that they could use to demonize it, they would have been done it. They would have been put that up. So what they did was they sat there and chopped little pieces and bits out of it, and put these cartoon characters, these Street Fighter cartoon characters with our faces on it and their faces on it, and act like they won that battle, which they did not. because we were in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai. And this is the reason why Elder Pastor did not want to deal with them individuals, because this is exactly where it's going to lead to. People are like, oh, you scared to debate vocab? No, motherfucker. We ain't scared to debate nobody. But it's a fucking waste of time. It's a fucking waste of time. Because what changed? Oh, we scared because why? Because we don't want to entertain you? You know? First of all, it came to nothing. All that arguing, yelling back and forth, you know, they saying this and asking questions, and we go to answer the questions. There's not, you know, they won't let you answer, or when you answer a certain way, or that's not good enough, or where's the precept on this, or where's the precept on that? Where did it get? What happened? Nothing but a bunch of fucking confusion. That's what the Lord said. The Lord is not the author of confusion, but of peace in all the churches of the saints. That's why we don't bother with these debates, because it's a fucking waste of time. You know? Leave that for the guys that like to do that. You know, that like to, you know, have their face plastered out there and, you know, like, oh yeah, you see how he dealt with this guy, you know, that they like that praise and that fame. Let them have that. We're here to teach the word. If they accept it, good. If they don't, oh well. So he comes up, you know, and the guy is a retard. The guy, Sam the Sham man. I got the Sham part from Apostle Tara. Sam the Sham man. You know, he comes up, and Apostle Gabar was going into the woman conceiving seed. We read the scripture. A woman doesn't conceive seed. A woman gets pregnant by the seed or something like that. And the guy is a retard, because he's saying the same exact thing that we're saying. But what he's doing is this is what's called circumlocution. And what it is, it's a tact or a tactic of speaking to pretty much you're controlling the direction of the conversation. You're cut, but instead of allowing the points to be made, they keep harping on one point to stray away from the actual point that was being brought out, which is the law of purification, which we're going to get into in this lesson, and Lord's will be edifying. And shalom to the Akim and Akwat. You know, Salaki, I'm a little agitated right now because I'm just, you know, thinking about that whole thing. And, you know, it's like, you know, you just want to go out and teach, because arguing back and forth with people, look, we've done that for years. And it's a waste of time, because how many people from them, how many of those guys that came out there were converted to be an Israelite? Not one. You know? And what did they do? They didn't accomplish anything but get whoever the Lord didn't want. Because maybe somebody might have watched it and said, you know, I knew them Hebrew Israelites wasn't right. And they're going with them. But guess what? The Most High didn't want that person. You can have them. Anyway, let's go to Leviticus 12 and 1. Let's deal with this. Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1. And I pray Yahweh Bashem Shai, you know, through the Holy Spirit, guide me, you know, to bring out the points in this lesson, to make it edifying, you know, to feed the sheep and the lambs of Yahweh Bashem Shai out there. Leviticus 12 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed. So he couldn't get past this point. He didn't understand that a woman doesn't conceive seed. He's under the impression that the word conceive means that a woman produces sperm. No, asshole. When a man and a woman get together, they have sex. Matter of fact, that was a scripture I had. Yeah, you know what? Let me write that down, because that just came back to mind. I missed it. I gotta go back and exactly find it. You know, when a woman conceives seed, a man and a woman getting together, they're having sex with each other, right? A man has a penis, a woman has a vagina. The penis goes into the vagina. What is the purpose of the penis going into the vagina outside of pleasure? To produce children. What comes out of the man's rod? Sperm. What is sperm? Seed. What does a woman have? She has ovaries. She has, you know, every month, you know, the body gets ready for the new egg. That's why she has the blood, because she's purifying. You know, all that blood is coming out of her. So she has a new egg. So when the man and the woman get together and the sperm goes in and goes through the fallopian tubes and the whole shebang, eventually one of those sperms end up hitting the egg. And at that point, that's what brings life. And there was that video that I did was an article that brother sent me. I'm trying to remember the name of the article, but I know that part of it was because these devils they check out everything, right? So at the point of the sperm hitting the egg, there's like a illumination that happens, for lack of better words. And that illumination that's happening is the union of the egg and the sperm, because the sperm is the baby. The egg is what feeds it. So when that comes together, there's like an illumination that goes on, and that's the spirit going into that sperm, so to speak. And then that baby grows, because without the spirit, the body's dead. All right? So that's the act of sex. And that's what we're reading in the book of Leviticus, the 12th chapter, that if a woman conceives seed. Now let's look up that word, conceived seed. And these guys, they know exactly what they were doing. But the thing is, that's the thing. The whole thing is keep the person frustrated so that they can't get their point out. And that's what Vocab Malone and them other devils do. Circumlocution, talk in circles like that. The former atheist dude. That dude is the biggest circumlocution dude in the world, man. That fucking guy will take you around the planet, come back and just to make the same point that he was saying before. But anyway, let's go to Genesis. I'm sorry, not Genesis. Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 12 and verse 2. Right? So it says, if a woman conceives seed. So when you look up the word seed, conceived seed, the word there is zerai. Zerai. What is zerai? Zerai is seed, which is what? Sperm. It could be sperm, or it could be an apple seed, or a pear seed, or a watermelon seed, or any type of seed, because the seed is the life-giving force. The egg is what feeds the life-giving force. And there's a reason why when the attachment of the sperm, tadpole, or whatever you may, or however you may makes that connection with the egg, there's an umbilical cord that attaches to that sperm as it's growing, because that umbilical cord is what's feeding that sperm to grow into a body, because that's the natural way that the Lord made for a man and a woman to have sex and multiply, right? Zariah says to sow scattered seed, to sow producing yield seed, to be sown, to become pregnant, be made pregnant. And that's what we were bringing out to him. And a woman can't conceive seed. I guess Muhammad was right. A woman is great. She can conceive seed. The guy, they're playing games. They're playing word games. They knew exactly what was being brought out, because they knew they were cut. So what do? They just want to talk and make it seem like they're intelligent. And that's why them devils use them big extracurricular words, because they know that the average Jake out there is not into looking words up. They're not into learning. They're into having fun. So that's how they mesmerize Jake with them big words. That's why the Apostle Paul said, my speech was not with enticing words of man's speech, but in demonstration of the power, because it's about the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and the message that's being brought forward, not about all that fancy speech, because the Lord said he took away the eloquent orator. So the eloquent orators among Jake, there's not that many. Now you have some charismatic speakers, even among brothers, but for the most part, the charismatic speakers are out there in the world blurting out that gibberish. Now what I did was I looked up the word conception in the dictionary, right? And it gives you different definitions, but I want to come to the number 2. It says the act of becoming pregnant, fertilization of an ovum, which is the egg, that's the Latin way of saying egg, by a spermatozoon, So the becoming pregnant, the act of becoming pregnant, it says fertilization of an ovum by a spermatozoon. So in other words, the egg of a woman becoming fertilized by the sperm. And that's the point that was being made. But you notice it never got past that because they played on that conception thing so that the point was never made. So that they asked a question and we could never get to the answer because they're not allowing the point to be made. And that's why these debates are a waste of time. So now let's go back and let's read that again. It says, speak Leviticus 12:2. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then shall she be what? Unclean 7 days, according to the day of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. Now when a woman and a man have sex, right? The uncleanness of a woman in her purification is what? When she's menstruating, when there's blood coming out. At the point when the man and the woman are having sex, you know, there's no menstruation going on. And when the sperm goes into the woman, there's no menstruation going on. You know, especially if she's getting pregnant. So what is this uncleanness? Let's look up that word unclean. Let's look up this word unclean. Unclean. Tama'ah. To be unclean, become impure. To become unclean sexually. Why? Sexually, because the man and the woman had sex. And that sperm, the seed that came out of that man and went into that woman, made them impure, made them unclean. All right? Now, when you look up that term conceived seed, right? And you look in the blue letter and you look at through the different translations, the word conceived seed comes up 6 different times. The KJV, the ASV, the DBY, the WEB, the Vulgate, and the Septuagint. They all come up on that. You know, in that vein, so to speak. They all pretty much say the same thing. The other ones say different, but these 6 here actually give the sense of conceiving seed. All right? Now, when you go to the Vulgate, right, and you look up the word for conceived seed, right, the word that's there for conceived seed is the word, just bear with me, is the word fucking Satan, man. Alright, fuck you. Alright, you go to Google. I'm glad I recorded like got it like this. This is mulier si suscepto semine, right? And what that translates to, because I took it and put it in Google Translate, it says if a woman have conceived seed. So it all goes back to what? To the sperm. And when you go to the Greek of that, which I didn't get, that's all right. It has the word sperma something, all right? So altogether it has the word sperm in there. And that is the key. Because how did that woman become unclean? Sexually, because when a man ejaculates into a woman, they become unclean. Both of them. Okay? And that is the point of this law here, because it's a law of what? Purification. All right? Let's see. Now, let's go from there. Matter of fact, let's go to Genesis real quick. Genesis chapter 1. And 11. And the power said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit, what? After his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so, because the earth is considered what? Is considered a woman. And the seed is what impregnates the earth, so to speak. Whatever seed it may be. Same thing with man. And when you read down further, the Lord gave man and woman. Matter of fact, let's get it. Genesis 1 and 28. And the powers blessed them, and the power. Matter of fact, I started at 27. So the powers created man in his own image. In the image of the powers created he him, male and female created he them, and the powers blessed them, and the power said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. So pretty much, how did you become fruitful and multiply? By the act of sex. See? So the sperm, just like the earth and the seed, the womb of a woman, or the ovum, the egg, and the sperm, that is that is a life-giving force. And this is what those Masons and these Roman Catholics and all that, that's what they worship. That's why they worship Mary. You know, which goes back to the Queen of Heaven, and that's a whole nother topic right there. So now, before we go to the next one, I want to get one more point, because I even looked it up in the Geneva Bible to see what the Geneva Bible said, you know, because they like to use the Geneva Bible. So I went there. In the Geneva Bible, it states, speak unto the children of Israel, and say, when a woman hath brought forth seed. So they even use seed in there. You know, when a woman hath brought forth seed. So the point is seed. So they knew what they were doing. So, but why were they playing games? Because they knew they were cut, and their whole shit would have collapsed if they didn't go into their monkey theatrics. All right. Now let's go from there to the book of Luke, the 2nd chapter. And like I said, I tried to go into this last night, but Satan was resisting me, and there was nothing I could do. And I didn't really want to go live the other way, because the other way I go live, there's always a delay, there's always some problems, you know. So I wanted, you know, to really make sure that this lesson got out there, because we are defenders of the gospel. Unlike Vocab Malone and them, they're what they are. They're trying to destroy the Lord's word, but you can't fight against the Most High, son. This is Luke chapter 2 and verse 21. I'm sorry, not 21. Yes, Luke 2 and 21. It says, matter of fact, let me go up above that. Well, you know what? Straight to 21. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcision of the child, this is after Mary gave birth, because the law in the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham was every male child shall be circumcised on the 8th day. So when Yahushua was 8 days old, they brought him to the temple to be circumcised, right? It says, for the circumcision of the child, his name was called Yahushua, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. See? Conceived. Matter of fact, let me look up this word conceived there, see what that one says in Luke 2. So them guys are playing games, man, because they say here conceived, and in Leviticus 12 it says conceived seed. Guys are playing games, man. But see how they do? You know, they'll grab a little piece here, a little piece there, splice it together, and then put some bullshit ass cartoon characters to show you they had nothing. Because if they really had us, if they really so-called won that, they would have just put the video up, you know, and maybe did a commentary. I see this right here, this the point, blah blah blah, this that the other, you know, but they didn't, because they didn't have nothing. So the word here is conceived, right? Sulambano, to seize, take, or one as a person to conceive of a woman. Um, right, to conceive of a woman, because what happens? The woman, when the sperm goes into her, and that sperm hits the egg, the woman pretty much, the body of the woman captures that sperm, in her, and that's where the baby starts to grow. Once it hits the egg, you know, and that's like a season, like because it also uses the term cease, you know. So it's to conceive of a woman. So the woman got pregnant, but how did she get pregnant? By the sperm, because it says in the womb. Now the word womb is koilia, the whole belly, the entire cavity, the upper, an example, stomach and the lower belly, and distinguish the be given up. Let's see, the womb, the place where the fetus is conceived and nourished until birth. See, them guys are playing games, man. Shit. All right, now let's go back to Luke 2:21. Let's read that again. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcision of the child, his name was called Yahushua, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days of her what? The days of her who? The days of her what? The days of her purification. Now let's look up that word purification in that same chapter. Look up the word purification. And when the days of her purification, katharismos, a cleansing, purification, a ritual purgation or washing, meaning to be made clean, of the washing of the Jews before and after their meals, of Levitical purification of women after childbirth. Why? Because the woman was unclean. Why? Because the man had sex with the woman, and the sperm that came out of that man was what made them both unclean. Now, we're going to go back to this, but let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus. We're going to come back to this. Let's go to Leviticus 15 and 16. It says, And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean unto the evening. So what is the seed of copulation? Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus, the seed of copulation. Leviticus 15 and 16. Seed, we're going to seed, Zerai, seed, sowing, offspring of semen, virile. Just in case you didn't understand, semen, virile. What's semen, virile? Sperm. I was going to get graphic with it, but I had to bite my tongue on that one. And then you have the word copulation. The word copulation is shakabah. Shakabah. Act of lying. Layer coding. Act of lying of sexual relations. So, reading that again. And if a man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the evening. So why did he have to be unclean? Because his seed of copulation came out of him. Dig it. Right? It says, and every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be what? Unclean unto the evening. So if he has sperm that comes out of him, right, and it be on him, it be on his clothes, it be on his bed, whatever, wherever it may be, that's all unclean unto the evening. Why? Because of the seed. That's why the law of purification in Leviticus 12 said, if a woman has conceived seed, then she shall be unclean. Why? Because of the sperm. It says the woman also. Oh, what? The who? The what? The woman also, with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening. Why? Because of the sperm. So he popped the woman, and the sperm came out and made them both unclean. So they have to wash themselves and be unclean until the evening. Getting it? All right, now let's go from there. Let's go to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19 and verse 10. It says, and this is when the people, the Israelites, wanted to go talk to the Most High themselves. So these are the instructions that the Most High gave the people. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, go unto the people and sanctify them. What does it mean to be sanctified? It means to be made holy. And I believe the word there is kodash. Let me just get it real quick. Exodus 19 and 10. The word sanctified is the word kodash. To consecrate, sanctify, prepare, dedicate, separate. So how were the people being made holy? Because they were being set apart to come in the presence of the Most High. Right? And the Lord said unto Moses, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes and be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai, and thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves that you go not up into the mount or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall surely be put to death. There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether be beast or man. It shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. Remember the blowing of the trumpets. There's different sounds that the trumpet makes for the gathering, or for war, or for whatever the case is, for feast days, for merriment, so on and so forth. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified the people. He made them holy. He set them apart. Because they were being sanctified, they were being set apart. He said, look, this is the instructions that you need. Blah, 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 this, that, and other. Do this, do that, and do the other. Sanctify yourself, because in 3 days the Most High is going to appear and you're going to get your wish. You wanted to talk to the Lord? Well, this is how you got to talk to the Lord. You got to do this, that, and the other. Right? And Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. That was the first step, washing your clothes. And Most High don't he's, man, Most High is pure, man. Pure. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. Don't have sex with your women. Why? Because when a man and a woman have sex and the sperm comes out, they are unclean. So this was the instructions that the Most High gave Moses to give to Israel before they could come and appear in the presence of the Most High. All right? So let's look up that word, come not at your wife, or the word come, C-O-M-E, not the other one. What the hell? All right. All right, so now let's go from there to Exodus 19 and 15. It says, come, right? Nagash, to draw near, approach, to draw or come near, of humans, of sexual intercourse. So in other words, don't have sex with your wives. Why? Because you're being sanctified, you're being set aside, and if you have sex with your woman within that time period, you're going to be unclean. And then the other one is not at your wives. The word for wives is nashayam or asha. Asha, or there's another way of saying it, Ayasha, a woman, wife, female. All right, bottom line. Now, let's read that again. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day, come not at your wives. Now, this brought another scripture to mind that I didn't write down, didn't come to mind when I was writing these precepts down. But there was a situation where King David and his men were hungry. And they came to the priest. And he said, you know, do you have any weapons here? And he said, there's no weapons here except for the sword of Goliath. So he gave that to King David. And he said, the only thing we have here to eat is a shewbread for the priest. And, you know, he said have the young men, you know, at least not come, you know, onto women within the last 3 days or something like that. He said women have been kept from us, so they were able to eat it because it, you know, they were hallowed, they were sanctified, you know, which really wasn't lawful for them to eat, but that's all that was there to eat. But the priest said at least that the men not deal with women these last, you know, few days, because it lets you know that when a man has sex with a woman and that sperm comes out, that's what makes you unclean. All right. Now, let's go from there to back to Luke, the 2nd chapter, and the 21st verse. Luke 2 and 21. I'm sorry, you know what? I'm gonna start at 21 again. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcision of the child, and this is what them devils didn't allow us to get to. That's where they kept getting stuck on. A woman doesn't produce seed. We never said that, asshole. Oh, a woman must be amazing. Muhammad must have been right. You know, and those are the diversionary tactics that these devils use. Matter of fact, I like that word. Let's look that up. Diversionary. I like that word. Let's look it up. Look it up. Diversionary. Diversionary. Of tactics, an example, likely are designed to confuse or deceive. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were using tactics designed to confuse or deceive. And the only ones that are going to deceive are the ones that are not part of the elect. The scriptures say, if at all possible, they will deceive the very elect. But they can't deceive the elect. Why? Because the elect are the elect, bottom line. And they will not be deceived. You see? Now, let's go back. It says, and when the 8 days were accomplished for the circumcision of the child, his name was called Yahushai, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. Before he was conceived in the womb. Before he was conceived in the womb. Before Joseph knocked it, you know, had sex with Mary, sperm came out of Joseph into Mary, and that was where Yahushai came from, because that's what made him of the seed or the lineage of David. And that's why in Matthew, the 1st chapter, you have a lineage of Yahushai. There's not a lineage of angels, you know. Like Apostle Tar said in this video, the Holy Spirit was not in the genealogy of Yahushai, because Yahushai came through the direct lineage of David. And then that's another thing. So, I didn't know, did David come back from the dead and have sex with Mary? These guys are playing games, diversionary tactics. Diversionary tactics. Tactics likely or designed to confuse, damn it. Tactics likely or designed to confuse or deceive. See? Tactics designed to confuse or deceive. And that's what they were doing, using those diversionary tactics, because they did not want the information to come out that Mary was unclean because Joseph's sperm was inserted in her, and she became unclean. That's why she had to go through the law of purification, as it is written in the book of Leviticus 12 and 2. And they didn't want that to come out. You see? It says, Verse 22, Luke 2:22. And when the days of her what? Purification, according to the law of Moses, were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. So let's look up that word purification again. God damn it. Salaki, brother. Somebody keeps calling. I put the, it's crazy. I put the phone on do not disturb and the goddamn call is still going through. I tell you, boy, Satan is a real motherfucker, man. Just blowing off a little steam. Oh, man. That's why, you know, Pastor Star says, man, you got to have fun with this, man. All right, so the word purification in Luke 2:22. Catharismo, a cleansing, purification, a ritual, purgation, or washing. Of Levitical purification of women after childbirth. See? Why? Because they had sex. And they conceived seed. The sperm of man went into them. That's why it says here, before I read any more. Matter of fact, no, let's read on some more. Luke 2:22. And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that openeth the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. It says, and to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. Now, if Mary was impregnated of the Holy Spirit, as they say, why did she have to go through the law of purification? Because there would have been no seed involved. There would have been no sperm involved. But the reason why she had to go through the law of purification is because she had sex with Joseph. And Joseph's sperm went into her, therefore allowing Yahushua, according to the scriptures, to be of the seed of David. As the scriptures speak about him being of the seed of David. As it says, matter of fact, let's get there real quick. Romans chapter 1. And verse 7, right? No, verse 3. Concerning his son, Yahushua, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David, according to the flesh. Do you get that? According to the flesh. He was made of the seed of David, according to the flesh. He was made of the seed of David, according to the flesh. He was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. He was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. He was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. You can't get around that. But them devils will try. Now let's go from there real quick. Let's go to, let me just write this down real quick. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 1. It says, I myself also am a mortal man. Who's this speaking? King Solomon. Like to all. And the offspring. What is an offspring? The sperm. The child. Right? It says, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. So wait a minute. Who was the first made of the earth? Who was the first man that was set up in authority? Adam. So he's saying that he was an offspring of him that was first made of the earth. So did that mean, because by the time King Solomon was alive, Adam had been long dead, right? So did that mean that the Lord brought Adam back to life to have sex with Solomon's mother so that Solomon can come up, since he said he was an offspring of him that was first made of the earth? Because that's the argument they made with King David. That the Lord bring King David back to life. I mean, they ain't say it in those words, but that's what they implied. Did the Lord bring David back to life, and he had sex with Mary? So did the Most High raise Adam up at that particular moment just to have sex with his mother Bathsheba so that Solomon can be made, since he said he was the offspring of him that was first made of the earth? You see how ridiculous that is? It says, and that's what they do. They negate the scriptures, and that's why you can't deal with these devils. That's why it's a fucking waste of time having these goddamn debates. But you still have guys out there that's gonna fornicate and fraternize with that devil vocab. It says, and in my mother's womb, what? And in my mother's womb, from what? From the offspring, from the seed, was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man. See? Because a woman does not produce seed. The woman takes in seed. That's why she conceived the seed, because the seed went into her, hit the ovum, which is the egg, and the baby started being growing from that point. It says, and the pleasure that came with sleep. And this part here, the pleasure that came with sleep, is not talking about sex, the pleasure of sex. The pleasure that came with sleep means that the baby was sleeping in his mother's womb, and it was comfortable in there. It was warm, it was comfortable. You know, he was free from harm. That's the pleasure of sleep, you know, being able to get sleep in the mother's womb. You know, it's not talking about the pleasure of sex. I know that was an old breakdown, and brothers still break it down like that, but this part here where it says, and the pleasure that came with sleep, is not talking about sex. The pleasure of sex is talking about the pleasure of sleeping in that warm womb where King Solomon was at, and where the beginning of life comes in these babies, with the blessing of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, when he sends that spirit down, when the union of the man and the woman comes together, which has that spark, which is the beginning of life. Because it says that we're as a spark, I believe it says in the book of James, the 4th chapter, something like that, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter. So, and then it says, when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature, and the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do. I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. For all men have one entrance into life, and the light going out. Yes. Now the only individual that was born that way was Melchizedek, which had no father, no mother. And it was specific that he had no father, no mother. The Lord caused him to materialize. You know how exactly he did it? The Lord knows. And can the Lord do that? Of course he could do that. But that's not the case with Yahushua. Yahushua was actually born of the union between the man and the woman. That's what we read in Revelation 1 and 3, that he was made of the seed of David. All right, now let's go from there. These are just extra precepts. Revelation, which Apostle Tar hit some of these precepts. I'm sure Yashawamba, Elder Yashawamba did too. I didn't get a chance to watch his video. I didn't get a chance to watch Apostle Gabar's video. And it's true what Apostle Tar said. There should be thousands of videos going up on this subject. You know, hitting this devil vocab Malone in the head. Revelation 22:16. I, Yahushua, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root, which goes back to what? All the way back to Isaiah 11 and 1. And the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. So what is the root and the offspring? Let's look up the word root first, and then let's look up the word offspring. Look up the word root in Revelation 22 and 16. So the first word we're going to look up is root, which is ritza, a root. That which is a root springs from a root, metaphorically offspring, progeny, see, which is child or children. Now the word offspring. Offspring is genos, or beginnings. Like you have the word Genesis. The word Genesis is the beginning. In the Hebrew, bara'ash yath. Ba is in, ra'ash is head, and the yath at the end makes it plural. Bara'ash yath, in the beginning, in the headings, or in the beginning. All right? It says offspring, family, stock, tribe, nation. An example, nationality or descent from a particular people. And that's why he has a lineage in Matthew 1 and 1. It says, the aggregate of many individuals of the same nature, kind, and sort. All right? So now let's go from there to the book of Luke, back to Luke, the 2nd chapter, and the 48th verse. It says, and when they saw him, meaning Mary and Joseph saw Yahushua, because he was still at the temple, teaching these lawyers and these doctors, these elders, being 12 years old. And they were looking for him in the company as they were going back to Galilee, but they couldn't find him. So they had to go back. It says, and when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with me, with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. You see? Thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. So what does Mary call Joseph her father? She didn't say, your heavenly father and I, but she said your father and I, because she knew that her and Joseph had sex. And this is what these devils in the Roman Catholic Church and the Christian Church don't want to admit, because they want to put Mary up on a pedestal. They want to worship the Queen of Heaven. And Lord's will, I'm putting together a lesson, on dealing with that. Lord's will, I can get that lesson off as soon as I put it together, Lord's will. So this is Luke 2:48. You look up the word father. Matter of fact, look up the word thy. Thy is or su, thy, thee, or your. And then the word father, it says pater, generator or male ancestor. Father, an example, ancestors, forefathers, founders of a nation. One advanced in years, a senior. So pretty much, the father, Joseph is the father of Yahushua. Or was the father, because he's in the spirit world now. Or he might be back, we don't know. But back then, 2,000 years ago, he was the father and Mary was the mother of Yahushua. All right? So that's that. That's it on that. All right, we got, so pretty much, why did Mary have to go through the law of purification? Because Mary and Joseph had sex. That seed of copulation came out of him. When he lied with her, she got pregnant. So after, when she conceived, when she had the child, she had to go through the law of purification because of this. She was unclean because of that seed. And we read in the law that if a man's seed of copulation come out of him, he's unclean. Well, anything that the sperm gets on is unclean. If he has sex with a woman, she's unclean unto the evening. So that's the reason why Mary had to go through the law of purification, because of the sperm. See? Because that baby that grows in a woman's womb, where do you think that baby comes from? From the seed, from the sperm. So she has to be cleansed of that. You see? And if you can't get it, hey, that's on you. So once again, the new moon comes in September 16 that evening. Like I said, when the brother puts the new moon up tonight or tomorrow, Lord's will, I can copy from him and put it up on my channel so you brothers can have it. And the Feast of Tabernacles ends tonight. When the sun goes down tonight, the Feast of Tabernacles will be ended. All right? So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.